Good evening, you're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, we find out why these youngsters in North East Lincolnshire need your vote, and we learn about a new system at Grimsby Hospital which takes your photo. And joining me in the studio is Pippa Curtin. Welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Hugh Richards. First of all, it's over to Richard Morris for the News Roundup.
Hello there. A social housing provider is hoping a new community gardening scheme will help improve life for residents on the estate featured in last year's series of Skint. Ongo has huge housing stocks on Scunthorpe's Westcliff estate and donated £600 for the fruit and vegetable growing scheme at Westcliff Primary. It's hoped it will teach lessons on health awareness, cooking and money management that will hold lifelong benefits for people on the deprived estate.
Well, I mean, everybody knows that Westcliff got a terrible name from that TV programme, and those of us who have been around here a while know that that wasn't a true reflection of the people who live in this area. And, you know, we probably would have done this project anyway, but from our point of view, it's about doing as much as we can in our communities to help people live as full a life as they can, and this is just one of those things.
What we're hoping is that this will have a spreading effect, and they'll be way more aware of what they're eating, and they might take that home to their parents and let their parents know what they're eating, and hopefully this will improve the diets of local people.
Police have seized 9.6 million smuggled cigarettes in Immingham. The load arrived from the Netherlands at the end of November. It featured 3 different brands and will now be destroyed by the UK Border Force. As previously reported by Estuary, Cleethorpes Pier is currently undergoing a period of maintenance designed to change it from a nightclub into a multi-purpose venue. The pier has been a feature in Cleethorpes for many years and is also undergoing maintenance which its owners and managers hope will keep the pier standing for a long time to come and keep it central in the life of Cleethorpes. Simon Huxford, the managing director of the pier, outlined the changes the pier is going through and his hope that it will keep bringing visitors into the town.
Well, what we are doing is we're stripping the interior and the exterior back to as far as I can to the original state, and re-implementing the fascias for the frontage, and the interior is going to be refitted, so we'll have a conference and events facility serviced with food and drink facilities for everyone to enjoy. Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the pier is located at the central promenade, so it's the first thing you see as you come into the town itself, so yes, definitely.
That's all from me, and I'll be back with more news soon. If you've got any news for us, then please call us on Grimsby 31553. Bye for now.
Thank you, Richard. Next time you go to hospital, don't be surprised if you're asked to say cheese. Many of the hospitals in our region have been modernised to allow doctors and nurses to use wall-mounted and handheld touchscreen devices to keep track of patients across the hospital network. Is it a case of big brothers watching you? Dan Kemp brings us this report.
Grimsby's Diana, Princess of Wales, is now one of the hospitals in the Northern Lincolnshire and Goole NHS Foundation Trust to be using the latest bespoke touchscreen technology, and the benefits are clear to see. It acts as a ward management system that allows radiology and pathology results to be accessed by hospital staff, as well as providing a simple ward management system.
The information can be accessed from anywhere in the hospital and an electronic device, so nurses can access information regarding the patient from the bedside, from the computer, from an office. I can find pretty much anything that I need to know about a patient from anywhere in the hospital. This particular software, the WebV that we're using at the moment, I do find it to be of great help for delivering care for the patients, as well as clinical information that you can store on the system, such as observations, allergies, infective conditions.
The technology has been in situ for some time now, and it's hoped the WebV system will help to improve care provided to patients. It becomes especially useful when trying to deal with dementia patients who may struggle to accurately communicate their details.
We have devices on the wards which are called Panasonic Toughbooks, which have an inbuilt camera. So we thought, well, we've got this functionality on the wards at the moment, so why not we build into our system the ability to record a patient's photograph on their record.
It's particularly useful to be able to identify patients. Not all of them need it, but some patients benefit greatly from it, particularly patients that do suffer from some memory problems, such as Alzheimer's or dementia or short-term memory, or that come with confusion.
But it's important to highlight that photo recognition is just one of the identification methods that will be used in conjunction with more traditional means.
Systems are great, right? But you know, that should not eliminate the connection and the communication that you have with your clients. So you can ask them what the name is, what the date of birth is. Second, you have a wristband where they have, again, their name, their date of birth, and their NHS number. And thirdly, you have the picture. So the picture is a good safety net on the back of those two first checks that you can do.
You're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, it's back on the streets to find out another phrase in What You Say, and Dan Kemp will bring you the sports news. Young people are always being encouraged to take part in local democracy and have a say in what's happening. In North East Lincolnshire, a youth parliament has been running for many years. Joining me is Pippa Curtin, Participation Coordinator of Young People's Support Services in North East Lincolnshire, to tell us more. Pippa, thank you very much for coming on.
Welcome.
The youth parliament is a national meeting, isn't it? I think that actually sat as a whole parliament earlier back in November, didn't it?
Yeah, on the 14th of November, all of the members of Youth Parliament for every local authority area went and sat in the House of Commons and debated the top 5 issues as was voted for by young people.
And they sat actually in the chamber on the green leather benches of the House of Commons and had their debate there.
Yep.
Nobody else apart from the actual Parliament is allowed to do that.
Yep, no, nobody else other than our MPs are able to do that.
How are these young people elected to the Youth Parliament? How are they selected?
So almost every area actually have elections that are mirrored or a mirror image of the elections that happen for you or I, really. So what we do is we have young people that put themselves forward or are put forward, nominated by somebody else to stand. In our area we have teams, so a member and a deputy member stand together as a team. Then 6 of them are selected to stand as teams for election. They campaign, and our teams are currently campaigning between now and the end of January, and then we hold elections where young people vote the same way as we would, using a ballot paper, come and register their vote, and they do that in their schools. We run polling stations in their schools, and that's going to happen in February next year.
And who's allowed to vote? Presumably, if you're over 18, you're disenfranchised. You can't vote if you're too old.
So the constituency for the young people who run for Youth Parliament are 11 to 18-year-olds in their area. So anybody aged 11 to 18 in the area is eligible to vote.
What issues do they choose to campaign on? What are they talking about? What's the politics that excites them?
Well, there's all kinds of issues that kind of come up for young people generally. The top issue that came out in the House of Commons debate that was voted for was the living wage, that all people should get the living wage, whatever their age. So instead of having a minimum wage that's different for different age groups, they feel that actually young people at age 18 are able to go out and live independently and should be able to earn what is eligible for you to be able to live on.
These young people come together, they have a debate. What's the quality of debate? Are they good speakers? Are they good orators? Are they good advocates?
Absolutely fantastic. They put together a for and an against for each of the topic areas, the 5 topic areas that they talked about in the House of Commons debate. And then people are able to then, kind of as would in any House of Commons debate, stand up and give their opinion to add to that. And the quality of those debates are really fantastic, and it's actually televised live on the BBC Parliament channel, and it's available now, and it's also kind of formally recorded.
They come together and they have these debates. Do they have the backbiting Machiavellian treachery that we associate with politics?
I don't think so. I think they're all very passionate about what they stand for and are prepared to stand up for what they believe in. And I think that that is a really important part of
politics.
politics.
They're not divided along party lines, are they?
No, it's an apolitical, so they're not affiliated to any party. It's about the issues rather than the actual party politics.
What's the point? Why is it so important to have a youth parliament?
Because young people have fabulous ideas. At 16, they're able to marry, they're able to have children, they could go to war. And so, you know, last year's campaign was about reducing the voting age to 16. So they're really quite interested in politics, and young people at a young age are able to make social change and are real members of our community.
There's an element, though, that it's trying to encourage people to get involved in politics. I'm glad that the people who take part are already so enthusiastic, so engaged, but it's important to try to involve as many young people who are coming up to the voting age of 18 as possible to be interested in politics, because if not, we don't have a very successful democracy.
Definitely.
And so how difficult is it? Because this is not everybody in every school is going to be enthusiastic about this. Is there an element of trying to publicise politics, to try to say politics is personal, this involves you, this is about you?
Yeah, definitely. And different people are interested at different levels of politics. So some people will just come out and vote and you know, put their X in the box and say, this is who I want to stand for me. And then there are others, like the ones that are campaigning, that are prepared to stand up and be counted and say that I'll represent young people's views on a much broader scale, regionally and nationally. And there are those somewhere in between as well, where we've got young people that are working hard in school councils, in other youth groups in community areas, or in youth groups that we've got in this area that are working on campaigns and issues that are important for young people. An example of that they've been working on over the last couple of years is reducing the amount of money that young people have to spend on transport, and they have worked with Stagecoach on the holiday rider, which is giving young people £1.50 day rider tickets, which is saving them £1.60 a day every holiday, every school holiday.
Teenagers are famously bored by everything, and politics possibly isn't the most exciting and dazzling thing to engage them. There's going to be a big chunk of that population that's just going to miss out, isn't it? That's never going to be interested in politics.
I think maybe the word politics doesn't help, and maybe that
that shouldn't be that frightening a word.
No.
It just means community, it means getting on with each other.
Absolutely, and maybe the word is one of the things that does that. But if people can see that something's happening and that you can make a difference, I think people want to be involved.
What about that idea of younger people getting the vote for the Westminster Parliament? I mean, do you think they had the vote in Scotland from 16 for the referendum in this summer? Do you think that it would be a good idea to bring the vote down to include younger people?
I think it could be a really good idea, and I think stabilising the age of what everybody does, instead of having different ages for different things, would be a good idea. I think what needs to go hand in glove with that is the education, not just from schools but from parents as well, but the education right across the board for young people to understand what it means to them and what difference it can make to them, so that then they would get involved at that age.
Pippa, thank you very much for coming and joining us.
Welcome.
Politics is unfortunately seen by many as the business of old white men, but many politicians and political parties are trying to change that and engage more people in the issues that actually affect all of us and all of them. And as we've just heard from Pippa, one of the groups most underrepresented in both Parliament and the electorate is young people. In North East Lincolnshire, efforts are being made to change that.
Here in Great Grimsby, just 44% of 16 to 24-year-olds voted, compared to 76% in the over 65s in the last election. But there are some young people with a keen political interest.
If elected to serve the young people of North East Lincolnshire, we know there are many challenges that need to be faced.
So if you vote for us, we will do everything in our power to change the future so we can have a stable financial life.
This debate was organised by North East Lincolnshire Council. These political hopefuls aim to represent local young people in the UK Youth Parliament, and they're campaigning on a key issue for their demographic.
During the recent Make Your Mark campaign, one of the top issues was the living wage. This was also the highest voted for young people in North East Lincolnshire.
But why are we letting people who don't even earn minimum wage have the control over the amount of money that we earn whilst putting in the same amount of effort as someone who may be older than us, but also does the exact same job. Now, this is the definition of inequality.
But what is the living wage, and why should employers pay it?
Currently, the minimum wage is £3.79 for under 18s and £5.13 for the age range of 18s to 20s and £6.50 for over 21.
A 16 to 17-year-old working 48 hours a week earns only £727.68 per month, clearly not enough to live on.
We want to create an agreement that all local employers can sign up to that state that they will pay young people a living wage.
Workers would feel that their work is valued more if reflected in their wage packet. Valued workers are more likely to be happy with their work and in their work. This could result in more productivity, as previously stated.
Sticking with local government, joining me in the studio to talk about some of the issues within our region is James Dunn. James,
hello, Hugh.
What are the issues within our region? What's coming up in local government?
Well, I mean, the whole point of this really is just to talk about a few of the meetings that are coming up over the next week, which we'll be doing every week from now on. So I'm just going to get straight to the point, if that's all right.
Of course.
Sometimes there's loads of interesting things happened, as is the case with this week, perhaps not too much. But tomorrow there's quite a big day. Unfortunately, can't go to it all. But one of the things that they'll be considering in Hull City Hall, that's the People and Communities Scrutiny panel. We'll be talking about council tax exemptions. Now, obviously, it's a big issue because it affects everyone who lives in Hull City Council, although not actually everyone will be affected. So they're going to be talking about who's going to become exempt, who's going to no longer be exempt. I suppose the good news for a lot of people will be that the people on low incomes currently receive an 80% exemption from their council tax, and that works out at 24,811 people. So that's quite a lot of people. As
very accurate count there, James.
Yes, well, it was on the terribly interesting report I read before coming in here today.
It is interesting.
One interesting thing that will be happening is they will be removing a council tax exemption to special constables. So they won't get that exemption anymore. But I mean, various groups will be considered. So we've got people with uninhabitable or empty homes. But I mean, to be honest, the general rule is going to be that they're continuing to not offer exemptions, which in today's climate of reducing council budgets is probably fairly
This is in the background of all the local councils having their grants from central government massively trimmed down.
Exactly.
And they just need to raise money whenever they can.
Yeah, and those little helping hands that they were offering before perhaps are going to be cut back as a result.
Right.
Now, also what we got coming up, I mean, not much to say on this, but North East Lincolnshire Council tomorrow, they're going to be talking in the Special Safer and Stronger Communities Scrutiny Panel. That's at 2 o'clock at Grimsby Town Hall. They're going to be talking about giving more powers to town and parish councils. So it's also in the same context, really, of falling budgets. But they're going to be talking, one of the terms they use is moving from telling to engaging.
Right.
So they're essentially thinking about...
Seems like a semantic change rather than anything else.
Perhaps, and I wonder whether they'll be granting more money to them. Probably not, but they will certainly be asking them to do more.
What would engaging, how would that be different very quickly? Or would it be different, yes or no?
I'll be inclined to say no, but
thank you,
that
James.
might be a cynical view.
Thank you very much, James, for that. Last week we asked you whether you knew what down by the beck meant. This week, in What You Say, Dan Kemper's been out on the streets of Hull and Grimsby to find out if you know the meaning of another local phrase.
Oh, this is a trick question. No, I have no idea.
Snicker sneeze, yeah? No, never heard it.
Heard it. Snicker sneeze. I haven't got a clue. No, I'll come back to that.
No idea, never heard of that one.
I can only think slap.
This one I've used, I can't think exactly what it means. Snicker sneeze. Tell you what, I don't know, something like that.
Snicker sneeze. No, not heard that one.
Not heard that one before.
A naughty child when you're going to whatever you're going to do to it. it's funny we use it, and I know what it means. It's basically you're going to sort of give somebody a clip round the ear or tell them off.
No, I don't know that one.
I've never heard of that word.
I remember my grandmother telling us about that one, but she didn't say what it meant.
A what?
No, not a clue. Never heard that one.
The snicker sneeze you. Ooh, I don't know that one.
Snicker sneeze means to say, don't shut up, I'll up me one.
It's sort of a local expression. You often use it with children to say more or less, you're in trouble, I'll sort you out.
Well, one or two of them got fairly close to it this week. Let's see how they do next week. Now, here's the sport with Dan Kemp.
Former Grimsby Town Chairman Peter Furneaux has passed away. Peter took the Mariners to the Championship, spending 9 of 10 seasons in the second tier under his stewardship. He appointed Alan Buckley, the club's most successful manager, and also took the club through one of its darkest hours to avoid administration and potentially going out of business. Club director John Fenty said Peter's contribution to the football club had been enormous. Next up, it could be the end of a long innings for Lincolnshire Cricket Society. The group have been providing speakers to engage with the local cricket audience for half a century, but interest is waning, and ex-England international Dennis Amiss, the first man to hit an ODI century, could be their final guest speaker at Cleethorpes Cricket Club on Thursday, December the 11th.
We are in our 50th year and the membership's been dropping. We've lost, well, for various reasons. I would say it's gone down about 50% over the last 5 years. And we've got to a stage where it's not really going to be viable unless we can get a lot of new members. We need people to come forward if possible to help with the committee, to join, and if we got more members we could afford more big speakers, which means we get more members. So yes, if anyone would like to come forward, otherwise this will be the last year.
And remember, Hull City are at Everton tonight in the Premier League. We'll bring you the result of that tomorrow. And that's all for the sport.
Thank you, Dan. Join us tomorrow when my guests will be the singing mechanics from a garage in Laceby. Let's hope they're well tuned. And contact us at the usual ways. Email news@estuary.tv or through social media, Twitter or Facebook, or call on 01472 315561. But for now, goodbye.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Thursday will be much cloudier with only a few bright or sunny spells. The cloud may produce the odd spot of rain with maximum temperatures of 7 degrees. Looking ahead to Friday, it's becoming windier and cloudier with a band of rain crossing with maximum temperatures of 6 degrees.